everyone, good morning. My name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button, please do subscribe. It's Saturday morning, okay? So, I've got up a bit later on a Saturday and I'm grateful that I had a fairly decent night's sleep with no real bad interruptions, just normal interruptions like when you get up to use the bathroom. I've made myself a cup of coffee, I've fed my cats, and I'm going to tidy up the bedroom a bit later because the cats, you know, they flick cat litter on the floor when they go in the cat litter tray, so it's a bit of a mess to clear up. So last night, really again sat by myself watching YouTube videos, films, bits on stalking. Some of it seems, I mean, I don't want to sound ridiculous, but some of it seems unreal and made up, fake, because I'll get asked certain questions throughout the day. How many kids have you got? Where do you live? What do you like doing? What are your favourite colours? What's the name of so-and-so? And then I'll find it in a story on the internet. And that's not in my head, that's absolutely true. It's like people are making up things that I've said to them online and over the internet. Like someone is really obsessed with me and my life, and they're actually making up stories and pieces on the internet. It's quite frightening to wake up one morning and see everything you've said in someone else's video. It's very frightening and disturbing. But I've got no choice but to carry on in this isolated world that I live in, because every time I try to change it, trying to change my life, something comes along where I'm restricted, stopped, harassed and frightened, and I end up isolated in my home again. So I've got up and I'm just going to make the most of the day that I have in my little like bubble, like it's still COVID, and carry on. I've got no choice. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning, and happy birthday to perennial young one Cliff Richard. Like me, he's wired for sound.
Alexa, what's the day today?
Today is Saturday the 14th of October.
Alexa, what's the time?
It's 9:06 a.m.
Alexa, what's the weather like in Rochester?
Currently, in Rochester, England, it's 8 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Today, you can expect mostly sunny weather, with a high of 14 degrees and a low of 3 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
I recently got a pet newt, and he's called Tiny. I call him Tiny because he's my newt.
And Alexa, whose birthday is it today?
Today's famous birthdays include American singer, songwriter, dancer and actor Usher, American fashion designer and business executive Ralph Lauren, American football quarterback Jared Goff, British pop singer, musician, and actor Cliff Richard, and English actor and comedian Steve Coogan.
Alexa, how old is Usher?
Usher is 45 years old.
You're all getting older. I remember Usher. I love Usher's music. I'll never forget Usher's music. Alexa, what was the first single Usher made?
Usher's first #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 chart was Nice and Slow on the 14th of February 1998.
There you go. That's ages ago to some people. Some people weren't born when Usher was singing. Time flies and you've got to make the most of it, but sometimes you can't. and that's the way life is, I'm afraid. It's only those with substantial amounts of money, because the cost of living is going up, the prices of gas and electric is extortionate, so it's people with lots and lots of money that can, go in yachts. I go around the riverside, there's yachts, boats, expensive boats going along the river. I walk over the Strood Bridge, there's Subarus going over the bridge, there's Bentleys going over the bridge, Jaguars. I'll probably never own or drive a car, and I'll certainly never own an expensive boat. So you watch while they play. You watch them play with their toys. You watch the rich play with their expensive toys. When you're poor, that's what happens. You watch while they play and show off. But there's people worse off than me. There's people homeless. There's people living hand to mouth and they can't afford to feed their kids. I'm grateful that I've got food in my mouth and a roof over my head. Right, so I said, like last night, came back from walking Max, and I'm on my own all the time, because I was living in a terrible state in my old address. I was being used by men and taken advantage of. I wasn't happy with that. Now I'm in my 50s, I get up and I think, right, do what you want to do, go where you want to go, and don't go back to the way it was, because people are trying to force you into that. So I'm going to write some poetry today. I've got about 200 poems on an all poetry website, and a poem came into my head this morning, because as you get older, I think you can get a lot more creative with more time on your hands and not that much to do. I'm going to start writing more poems I'm going to add a poem to my poetry site today. That's what I'm going to do. That's different. I haven't done that for a long time. No, I still haven't heard from victim support or the police, but no doubt I'll hear from my mother, just like when she used to ring when my father Derek took me to the caravan parks with him on holiday. And I called the police when I was at All Hallows. I called the police, I asked for help. They didn't take it seriously and they just left me there. So I have to cope on my own. And look, what I want to explain to people is that when you're an adult female, right, and you're a survivor of sexual abuse, right, you are afraid and wary of men, right? I learnt bad behaviour as a child, because I'm not being nasty to my mother, but she had a mental health illness. She was no use to me when my dad was doing what he was to me. She was no use at all. She couldn't look after herself. She was in and out of mental hospitals when I was small. And I was left with a sexually abusive father. Okay, so what I'm saying, as an adult survivor, or an adult who is still living, as I was in 2008, with a sexually abusive dad, I was frightened of him. I'd grown up frightened of my father. He used to beat me, hit me, punch me, and he used to touch me with unwanted touches. So basically, when you're an adult and you're still living with someone that's abused you since a child, it becomes the norm, and you think that is the way of life, and you think all men are like that, and you think the only way that you can get a man is that. That's all they want, you to abuse and touch. So when I left my father, because he was still controlling me at the age of 40. He was still controlling me at the age of 40. So this happens whenever I start doing a video. One of the neighbours comes out with a dog and it starts barking. Can't speak, look. Not allowed to speak. Got to shut you up. Where was I? So, you learn bad behaviour. I learnt not to trust people from bad parents, basically. Your dad is doing things that are wrong. You can't trust adults, right? It's not mental health illness. It's also self-protection, right? My dad's been touching me and being sexually abusive since I was a kid. I'm going to keep people away from me because that's all people do. You know, all they want is to touch me for sex and use me. So you go into self-protective mode. You want to protect yourself because the police aren't. Your school doesn't give a shit. Social services are just pathetic because they take other people's kids away. But I was left with my father who was abusing me for years. So you just don't trust people. All I want to say is people that laugh at me and think it's funny the way I act and the way I am, you've got to understand why. And you've got to understand that little child who was 10 years old, who was about 4 foot something, with a 6'2" bullying man, how could I protect myself? Where were the police? No one heard me screaming. I'm sure the neighbours did, but didn't do anything. I would have loved it if someone had reported him. They must have heard me screaming. But people turn a blind eye. They don't care. I know this has been going on for years. I've screamed in adulthood and no one's heard. I've screamed when I've been attacked. No one's supposedly heard it, but they've heard a dripping tap. They've heard a dripping tap and they moan about a dripping tap, but when I screamed, no one heard a thing. So I get pissed off, I get fed up, and I'm living a life trapped because of what my father did to me. I'm getting no help, no support. Obviously, getting a real psychologist with real qualifications and real knowledge, you know, you need thousands of pounds. Everything's gone private. So I have to do my own therapy, which is free. But at the moment, I'm still like in this bubble. I can't get out of it because I'm trapped in my emotions. I've lost the man that was abusing me. And no, I'm not happy because he died. He didn't explain why he abused me. He didn't say sorry. And then I get this I get this man approach me on the field after my father's abused me for most of my life, and he tries to touch me. He tries to try things on and touch me, with builders watching on the scaffolding, stood there. That's why they're laughing. That dirty old man touched me and did a sexual thing, which was absolutely disgusting, and it's made me feel sick. And I just froze. I'm angry with myself because I didn't tell him to fuck off. I'm angry with myself because I froze when he did what he did to me. I'm angry with myself. I need victim support's help, right? Because he's made me feel dirty about myself, that bloke. I was happy. I was walking around the field. I was laughing. I was singing. And he did that, and he sent me right back to the beginning. people, I mean, what happened to me at Go Train? Being sexually abused, and they're all sat there. It's supposed to be a government training place. They're supposed to be real people doing a job, and they're sat there watching this strange man kiss me in a government training building, and then laughing. They're hideous. They make hideous old men, funny versions of my father Derek, touch me and abuse me because they think that's funny. They think that's comedy. And it's sick. I'm perverted, and it makes me feel dirty about myself, what they've done. It's that man following me round the field yesterday with like a funny Derek with an afro haircut. His hair looked like an afro. Do you know, every day have I got to be abused by my dead father? Have I? These sick weirdos, online and offline, with the funny my dad's dead. He can't harm me anymore. So they're not frightening me. The sick weirdos with perversions, you know. Will you do this? Will you do that? Do you wear stockings? Do I wear stockings yesterday? Do I wear stockings? I'm on my own in the flat in the dark, and they want me to take my fucking clothes off and put stockings and suspenders on. And you don't know if there's cameras across the road and they're watching inside their homes, online, on the web, me taking my fucking clothes off, do you? This is why, you know Marilyn Monroe, look up Marilyn Monroe and you'll see what happened to her. She died nude, with no clothes on, naked. She was used for sex and exploited all her life. They made her change her name. Elton John sang a song about Marilyn Monroe, and then at Princess Diana's funeral, he edited that song into Princess Diana's funeral, didn't he? England's Rose. Paula Yates, another blonde that died, that was a drug overdose. That was a drug accident. Paula Yates. She was over-sexualised. Paula Yates was. She used to sit on the big breakfast bed and interview stars with half her clothes on. Some women are exploited and used for sex. Presenters, they're taught, women are taught that they can use their bodies to exploit their own selves for men's sexual gain. Women, we are taught to use our body to get to the top. And it's all coming out now, how women have been given jobs and they've had to have sex with the boss to get the job, or they've had to dress like a whore to get work, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It happens to men as well. I'm not just saying it happens to women. More and more it's happening to men. Young men being exploited in the sex industry, etc. It happens everywhere. Selling our bodies. Because we get propositions. If you do this, I'll give you money. I'll give you a car. I'll buy you things if you have sex with me. Gay men do it to younger men. I'll give you this if you have sex with me. And a young man that's got no money and an older man turns up and he's loaded and he starts giving a young lad watches, jewellery, perfume, whatever, you know, and the poor guy wants to have a job, he wants to do this and that, but he's been sexually exploited by a dirty old man, basically. So I was just going to say, as a kid, how do you think I felt being sexually abused by my father, then having to go and get to school and get laughed at by bullies because I was quiet and different and had to shut my mouth in case my dad killed me? Right? How do you think I coped as a kid with all that pressure? I think I'm a very strong person and I'm proud of myself. And to everyone that laughs at me, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. And to everybody that watches my video, supports me, thank you very much. To all the survivors of sexual abuse out there, I'm proud of you all. See you later.